Most popular beach in all of Puerto Vallarta is Playa Los Muertos, otherwise known as the Beach of the Dead. It is centrally located in the heart of the romantic zone in the downtown of Puerto Vallarta. The beach runs between the pier and the Mirador Punto Muertos, which translates into English as the lookout point of the dead. The pier itself is an amazing modern structure, and it's a central point for those wanting to explore the bay. At the pier, you can rent water taxis, which will take you out to some of the other outlying beaches, such as Las Animas, Quimixto, and Yalapa, all of which are located on the beautiful south coast of the bay. All are perfect places to go if you want a day trip away from the downtown of Puerto Vallarta. Pier is also a great place to grab a fishing charter into the bay. And if you don't want to rent a boat and go fishing, you can catch some of the action by watching some of the local fishermen try their luck right off the pier. The pier is also the jumping off point for many of the local tour operators. They'll bring their boats in close to the pier and then use a water taxi to run their clients out to the boat for their excursion for the day. If you're a people watcher type person, this is also a great place. There's lots of benches located around the circular section at the end of the pier, and it's a great place to sit down and just see what's happening around the area. On the right here is a typical example of a Puerto Vallarta water taxi. This one's actually quite large, and you can see a group of individuals are ready to get on board. And on the left here, you can see a smaller water taxi just coming in. I would imagine they're either coming from Yalapa, Las Animas, or Quimixto. Those are the regular stops. This year's price for a trip to Yalapa is 500 pesos return per person. If you want to spend the day in Yalapa, Quimixto, or Las Animas, what I recommend is that you go before you want to depart and get a ticket and book your time, because the sailings sometimes fill up. You can always grab a charter at one point or another, or I should say a taxi, but you might find them full in the mornings. So when you're on your water taxi, it's a great idea to consult with the captain to find out when his last boat is coming back to the Los Muertos pier. I believe it's typically around 6 o'clock, but it's best to check. So once you've checked out the pier, I would highly recommend that you take a walk along the beach over to the Mirador Punto Muertos. Again, the translation for that is the lookout point of the dead. Walk is quite easy along the boardwalk and down the beach. It's only 1.6 kilometers or a mile return. We'll walk there and back should take you no longer than about 40 minutes, even with stops along the way. Mirador Punto Muertos is the green area at the end of the beach, and that is where we're headed. One of the things I really enjoy about Playas Los Muertos is that it has a very different level of activity from one end to the other. Normally closer to the pier, you'll find lots of people, lots of noise, music, the beach clubs with restaurants and bars. But at the other end of the beach, you'll find very quiet spots where you can just sit back and relax and sort of be by yourself. In general, the closer you are to the pier or the north side of the beach, the more activity there's going to be. Today is a very calm day in the bay, and you get lots of days like this, but if there's any sort of waves, you'll find that they occur more to the south side and to the north of the pier. There always seems to be a calm spot or the least wavy spot right next to the pier, just a little bit south of it, and I highly recommend going swimming there if you like smooth wave action as it is today. If you're looking to buy water taxi tickets, there's a booth right at the start of the pier, but you'll also find those to the north and south of the pier as well. I found no difference in the prices between the booths offering water taxi tickets. Hola, amigo. So right after you leave the pier, you're going to pass in front of the San Marino Hotel. You'll see lots of beach chairs on the beach under some palapas, but I believe those are only for guests. But don't worry, because there's a lot of beach clubs that we're going to pass through very shortly where you can actually spend a day, rent a beach chair, and for the most part, if you rent a chair, they will charge you a minimum fee, but that will come off your food and beverage bill. But check with the club before you sit down to find out what the deal is this year. Now, the first beach club that we're going to pass is called Si Senor. They have great food. They're probably the least expensive in terms of their required minimum. I think last year it was 300 pesos. I don't know what it is today, and that's 300 pesos per person. Nice setting, great food, as I said. I would say their chairs are good. They have very few loungers, though, so if you want to get one of those, you need to arrive early. We do have a lot of regular chairs and tables underneath these umbrellas here. And as I said, this is a great place to swim because there's less wave action this close to the pier, so it's an ideal location to set yourself up for the day. The next two beach clubs are a little more posh. There are La Palapa and El Dorado. So when I say a little bit more posh, I think they have nicer chairs and the foods are maybe a little higher caliber, and therefore you can expect the prices to be higher as well. These two places book up pretty rapidly, so I would highly recommend that if you want to spend the day here, you may go down a few days early and book a chair, especially if you want a lounger. Want to eat in the main dining section, then there's generally lots of room. But finding a lounger under one of these umbrellas here can be difficult in the high season. But I highly recommend these two restaurants here. Again, the food is excellent and the chairs or loungers are fantastic as well. Gracias.
Ahí donde levantó la mano el señor.
So the boardwalk is just about to end here, and we'll turn onto the beach and we'll walk all the way to the end and see the Mirador. And then we'll walk all the way back, and instead of going along the boardwalk here, we'll walk along the beach right to the pier. As you can see, the sand in Puerto Vallarta is this light brown color. It has a silty texture, it's quite soft, and I will say that if there's any sort of wave action, it tends to get kicked up and making the water appear murky. However, on a perfectly calm day, a day similar to this, it's actually quite clear. However, if there's the slightest bit of wave action, it does stir it up a little bit, which cuts down on visibility. When it's wet like this, it's very easy to walk along, but if you go on to the sections that aren't wet, it does make it a little bit more difficult or challenging to walk along. Not that it's difficult, I should say, but obviously it takes a little more effort because it's quite soft. At this time in the day, I would say it's close to high tide, but when it's low tide, this beach is a little more expansive. And unfortunately, during high tide, they put the chairs so close to the front of the water that it can get a little bit crowded walking along it. But at low tide, you have really quite a wide expanse to have a nice leisurely stroll all the way to the point. Now, I think you'll notice as we progress down the beach, you're going to find that the number of people sitting along it will decrease. And by the end, you'll see that there's quite a quiet section that if you really wanted to get away from all the people, the hustle and bustle, that's probably your best place to camp out for the day. And there's clubs and bars on that end as well, plus lots of different beach vendors that can come down and offer different foods and drinks. Most popular activities in the bay is for tourists to go parasailing, and that's what you're seeing here. The cost used to be about $50. Today I was quoted $80, but I'm sure that's negotiable. Parasailing, essentially what they do is they strap you in a harness with a parachute behind. It's attached to a speedboat, and they pull you up and tour you around the bay. So you get a nice bird's eye view of the beach and the city of Puerto Vallarta. Typically, the ride lasts somewhere around 4 or 5 minutes, but I've seen it last as long as 10 minutes. It all depends on how busy this particular boat is. It's early in the season right now, so there's not as many tourists taking the rides. So this person here will probably have a longer experience. You should also note that you take off from land and you return on land as well, so there's no need to get wet. I'm not sure what this statue is, but there's a duplicate one at the Puerto Vallarta sign on the Malecon, but it's a seahorse with a young boy riding on his back. It seems to be emblematic of the town. You see its likeness everywhere, on postcards, to towels, to mugs. So I think people of Puerto Vallarta and even a lot of visitors now associate the town with this particular sculpture. Now walked approximately 1/2 mile, 0.8 kilometers to the end of the beach and reached the lookout point of the Dead, or the Mirador Punto Muertos. It's easy to get to the summit of the Mirador. There's a set of concrete steps that somebody's put in place, not very difficult, and it's just a short climb up. Except for the last little extension, if you want to go past the lookout point, there's a higher lookout point, but that's only done with a path.
Hola. Hola.
So we've reached the summit, or the paved section summit of the point, the lookout point that is, and you can see the beaches north of Los Muertos Beach, or Playa Los Muertos, are actually quite rocky, and this continues all the way to Conchas Chinas and beyond. What's really nice about the beaches here are they're a little smaller and secluded, and you get these rocky outcrops and then smaller beaches in between, so if you want to be a little bit by yourself, this is a really good place to go to. But now let's head up to the top and see what the views are like from up there. Again, the paved path is gone, and we've got this little dirt path here, but it's quite easy to navigate.
Hello. How you doing? Beautiful spot.
Yeah, it is. Been here before?
Many times.
One of the things that you'll notice on this side of the beach, or the north side of the Playa Las Muertos, is the water is quite clear and quite green. And I believe that's because the sand on this side of the beach is a lot coarser, therefore less silty and less fine, and it doesn't get kicked up by the wave action. And you'll find that all along the north side of Playa Las Muertos, all the way around the bay. We'll especially see that in places like Camixto, Yalapa, and even Las Animas. So we'll now head on back, but instead of taking the boardwalk at the end, we're just going to walk the entire beach right to the pier. And we'll have a chance along this way to see what the beach clubs look like from the beach side, as well as see what kind of things are being sold by the vendors as we walk along. And you'll be able to see some of the activities, including the parasailing and personal watercraft and paddleboard rentals that you can find here. paddleboard rentals. Vendor is just right behind the boards there. Just stop in and ask the price if you're interested. Parasailing, so a young lady has been harnessed up. The boat is taking out the line or the slack in the line, and she's just about to take off. So you'll be able to see how they launch everybody. Again, right from shore, so you don't need to get wet. And then at the end, they'll land you right back on shore. Here are some beach vendors on the right selling shirts and hats. One of the nice things about Puerto Vallarta, yes, there's lots of beach vendors and they will ask you if you want to buy something, but if you tell them that you don't want to, they generally leave you alone pretty quickly. They don't seem to be as nagging as many other places in different cities or different countries that I've been around. So in addition to gifts, you can get beer and oysters and shrimp if that's more to your liking. And lots of vendors, though, selling hats and shirts and jewelry and offering massages and then different types of food. Point out, though, that most of the licensed beach vendors are all dressed in white. So if they're not dressed in white, they're just somebody who's on the beach selling things. Don't want to say illegally, but not sanctioned. So here a vendor is renting personal watercrafts, in this case Sea-Doos.
How much do you charge for the jet ski?
1,600 for half an hour.
1,600 pesos, so about 100 Canadian. Okay, gracias.
Mexican.
I know, but 1,600 is about 100 Canadian.
We're very close to the pier now, and you can see that it's very popular for swimming. Lots of people in the water here, and the main reason for that is that this is generally the calmest section of the beach on Playas Los Muertos, and it's very easy to get in and out of the water here. Now this guy's selling fresh fruit, mangoes on a stick, very popular here, very sweet. Just look for the ones that look a little bit orangey, like they've been aged a little bit. They're generally the most ripe and the sweetest. At Kids, there's lots of vendors selling beach toys, so there's no reason to bring those along your trip. You can easily get them here, and the prices are always quite reasonable.
La paciencia y la paciencia para poder.
We made it back to Los Muertos Pier. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you when you watch the next one. Thanks again for following along.